Namaste, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back to another. It is still football frenzy, fortunately or unfortunately for some. We are still talking football. Yes, it is March Madness. Congrats to the UCLA Lady Bruins for winning their first national champ title. Um, the men's, I predict UConn takes down Michigan. We will see what happens. It will come down in about 30 minutes. But before that, before the matchups at hand starting tomorrow in the Champions League, let's get down to business. Firstly, it's not El Clasico, it is the European Classico. It is Real Madrid Bayern. In this one, obviously, you already know what it is. Hala Madrid all the way, always, all day, every day, for life and all that. So we are going to support our team until they're not in it. So in this one, it is going to be very, very interesting. This goal scorer factor, I give the edge over to Harry Kane. Yes, Kylian Mbappe has scored a lot of goals for Real Madrid since his arrival. However, what has those goals really entailed outside of his personal numbers slowly just running up because everybody's focused on feeding him? Um, in terms of team success, you got absolutely humbled by Barcelona almost every time last year. It was not really close. Um, you lost the league title. You lost Champions League to Arsenal. Injuries played a factor. Um, the outgoings of experience plays a factor, and all of that. However, if you are coming in as the goal scorer, as the one of the main guys up front, you play a role in leadership. You really do, and the leader that he has been for France national team. He has been captain. I'm not sure if he is still captain, but he has those qualities supposedly, but that has not really translated to Real Madrid. His hunger does not show in front of the goal. You could read body languages between him and Vinny, and neither are really fighting for the badge. Yeah, they pick it up and they kiss the badge. Sure. You see the badge? I kissed it too. I love the club as much, probably more than you, because I do not get paid by the club. I support the club with the money from me to go pay for you guys to go get your salary. And by me, I mean every single fan, every single Madridista that watches, follows, and everything for Real Madrid and gives their all. They understand what giving their all for Real Madrid is, and we see when players do not do that, and we can identify that we are not dumb. And if you try to play us that is when it gets worse. So far, that is what the shift has looked like in his first year. Even with Jude Bellingham, we won everything: Champions League, La Liga, Cup, did that. But now, even Jude himself, it looks like trying to adapt more as that 10 role, more of an attacker, trying to follow more in the Vinicius and Mbappe model. He looks more self-centered, than he looks more team-centered. And outside of Fede Valverde and Dani Carvajal, all the younger guys that came out of the Castilla, you know, like I do not really, and Chomini. Actually, let me rephrase that. With Chomini as well, there are very few guys who are actually fighting for the badge. The other guys, center backs and everything, they are half the time on the injury table. Florentino Perez, it has happened year after year after year after year. The injuries has been stacking up, but what have we done about that? Nothing. Because why? The cash cow keeps on printing the money, so why worry about that factor? But when you start getting that arrogant, that is when a team like Bayern Munich, who also do have a pedigree in the Champions League that they could tap into, just like AC Milan, but they have not let their standards drop like a AC Milan or a Liverpool. So it is going to be a very tough one. The first matchup being at the Bernabeu, maybe it kind of stabilizes the team, gives the team energy, kind of like against City, where some magic happens, like a Fede Valverde. They go up, and then now you just got to defend and play it out. If that's the case, maybe they have a chance. If not, if they are trying to go goal for goal, um, this Bayern Munich side might be one of the best of all time if they end up winning Champions League and Bayern's Liga as well. Getting those two, they are going to go down there with those Thomas Muller, Robert Lewandowski, Manuel Neuer in the back, and he's not there either. So that's going to be another key factor for both teams with neither having their first choice goalkeepers. The center back stability is probably where it gets down to. This whether it's Ito, Upamecano, or Jonathan Tah, you probably do trust him a little bit more than the stability that, Hoyson, Militao after his injury, Alaba whenever he's there, and Rudiger has given you so far. Even at left back in the last game that Real Madrid just lost this past weekend, everybody's blaming Camavinga for, not dropping with this man. That's been happening at Real Madrid for the past few years. That's not anything new, but Alvaro Carreras, the way he started the season versus what he has been since I want to say February. It's been night and day. There's a reason why Fran Garcia got to run the games and he looked completely, different in a sense in that area. The experience between him and Hoyson on that left side or the chemistry is not working so far. So that needs to be fixed as well. And then the talks about Camavinga already being, exited out, Rodrigo's future, Vinny's future, all of that playing a factor as well. And then you have Arriola. He's gonna, already have his excuse. He said, "Hey, ask me about what Mbappe does after this Bayern Munich game, and what if he does not do anything?" And on the other side, Harry Kane gets a hat trick, or he is the catalyst of their win. Like, what are you gonna say? This loss is 2,000% on me, and we move on to the summer. The excuses are already embedded in. The standards have been dropping. It's really that simple. Bayern Munich. I mean, Luis Diaz attacking his former teammate in Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's going to be scary. Feather's going to have to pretty much play right back pretty much everywhere, just like the last game against City, again with Doku. And then you have on the other side Michael Olise, arguably the best left winger currently going down. The wind is picking up, so you already know I might be right. But I think the biggest key in this one is going to be the two guys coming back from injury. It's going to be Musiala. It is going to be Jude, who controls the tempo of the matchups, both in Bernabeu and in Allianz Arena. Um, they are likely to win the matchup. This could have probably been the conversation of, hey, who gets into the England squad possibly had Musiala chosen England for his national team. But right now, let's see who is the bigger superstar, who is the bigger player, who is the better player. So that does kind of go into as well. There has to be a little bit of self-respect and like a little anger of trying to, go out there, show who you are and what the standards are of your squad. Next up, it is Arsenal and Sporting. And talk about the standard. With all due respect to Sporting, I think Arsenal have to uphold a standard after already being out of two competitions. You can't really be, getting out of the Premier League title race and then getting out of the Champions League. Respectfully, again, to Sporting next round against a Barca or Atletico, I guess it makes sense in the semifinals. But currently, it's going to be tough for a tough look for Arsenal to kind of get through this one. The individual quality for their offense, for their midfield, for their defense should prevail them over a squad with, guys that are on the doorsteps of moving into the next level clubs like Arsenal. So maybe you go into this matchup, you look at a center back like a Diomande, who might be, a possible future prospect for you. Somebody in midfield, that you might want to look into, possibly an attacker. We'll see what happens there. Depending on who gets sold, like a Gabi Jesus, like a Havertz, you might want to go look into Luis Suarez, who was the replacement for Victor Gyokeres, and he has to be the catalyst in the Champions League. Like I mentioned in the last football frenzy, Declan Rice is a catalyst for the Premier League because of the endurance. In the Champions League, you need those individual quality. It has to be a Bukayo Saka. It has to be a Victor Gyokeres that kind of pushes them in those games, gets those goals, gets those assists, makes those moments. And because Champions League, it's about moments. People will remember moments. For you, it's like last year you had the moment with Declan Rice at the Bernabeu. This year you have to get over that and have a moment of having possibly a statement win against a Sporting, and then you move into a possibly a beatered and battered Barca versus Atletico, whoever comes out at that matchup. So you have a chance there. You go into the final. Once you're in the final, it's one game, 90 minutes. Let it play out. Moving on to the matchups on Wednesday. First, let's go over to the Merseyside. It is Liverpool and PSG. But I do have grace for Liverpool in this one. I know the captain Virgil van Dijk came out saying talking about the mental exhaustion, but everybody crusaded him for it. However, I empathize there. Firstly, the mentality, the physicality, and the emotionality that you had to play for under Jurgen Klopp takes a lot out of you. And you played deeper into the season. You played a season where you put up 97 points, lost only one game, drew 7 games, and you still did not win the Premier League. All of that plays a factor. And year after year, kind of motivating yourself against that monster that was City, that you did not, an expenditure at that time period, you were not doing it. And those are for your Robertson, your Virgil van Dijk. Matip has left. Konate replaced him. Has he even been up to Matip's level? If like why was there not a want from the club of wanting to upgrade over Konate, or at least bring in the competition? Because his real competition were Joe Gomez and Hiro Kansa. They were really not competition. That's what well, one got sold and the other rides the bench, respectfully. And then you have, an icon that kind of became an icon since Stevie G from the academy, from local lad, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Leaves, everybody villainizes him. That kind of takes an emotional toll on you. The midfield, you pretty much replenish the whole midfield because nobody from the Klopp era has legs anymore. Like, you got to think about that. Most of them are retired. They're in Saudi or somewhere else because they did not have the legs anymore. There is a reason for that. And then attackers, same thing. Bobby Firmino, Saudi. Mane, Saudi. Likely Salah's leaving right now, so now you're going through a whole new Liverpool squad. Though you won the title last year, it was kind of like the San Antonio Spurs in 2014. The team that you built a very long time ago, that was the last kind of like farewell memory in a sense. And unfortunately, talk about farewell memory, I do not want to bring this up, but I do not believe the team has been given the grace of losing Diego Jota. Like, it's not even been a year. His memoir's coming out. So shout out to the family. Love and prayers out to his wife and the kids, and all of that. But I did not want to bring it up. But, it plays a factor. He was a teammate. He was a brethren, like all of that. Just not seeing him around, not having his energy around. Like, that plays a factor. We don't know the relationships that they had. Maybe not all of them were, buddy buddies, but there were possibly some. Even like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, who, even though he left, he probably still carries that weight. Like, humanity's leaving sports. Like, we need to bring that back. Not having Allison in goal, that definitely does play a factor. However, in PSG's goal as well, after losing or selling Donnarumma, they got Chevalier, they got the other guy. They still have not figured out who's going to be, the stable number one go forward. But I think arguably the best defense since last year, probably not given the credit. You have Nuno Mensch, you have William Pacho, you have Marquinhos, and you have Hakimi. I think they have been the best four when healthy. You have a Vitinha in front of that. John Neves has not been talked about as much this year as he was last year. You have Warren Zaire Emery, and I'm just talking about the inexperienced guys right now. Mayulu, Fabian Ruiz, Kvaratskhelia could change the game in a second, and I do believe he is probably going to play a factor in this one as well. The wingers, they're going to play a factor against the fullbacks who are more offensive than defensive in Frimpong and Kirkes. So it's going to be a tough one for Liverpool to get out. I hope they just don't get embarrassed in this one. Because the carryover effect from the City matchup into another drubbing, it's just going to get more negative, and likely Virgil van Dijk's probably going to want to get out of there sooner too. So having that Klopp era kind of leave on a bitter note, I don't know if, even Kara, shout out to his negativity and the "you never walk alone." Hey, I don't believe you guys want to do that, but we'll see. Now fans are so fickle and selfish, where if it's not about them, it kind of really doesn't matter to them. So we will see. They claim the club, but it's really about the selfish needs of the fans. So we'll see if they respect their legends, or they cast them off with a little bit of disdain. It has happened before. It will happen again. It's nothing new, but PSG in this one. Moving on for the last matchup in the quarterfinals, it is Barca Atletico. This one's going to be fun. Right after this 2-1 loss for Atletico, now you go shift over from the RFEF, the Spanish Referee Federation, to the Champions League Federation referees. So it's going to be interesting to see. There was some conversations about cards here and there. I'm not going to speak on that because anything I speak, one side of the fan base between those two clubs are going to try to come after me. You guys figure it out on your own. That's why you get two more matchups in the Champions League to get your lick back. And talk about getting your lick back. They in Atletico are already 0-4 against Hansi Flick and Barca. So, do they play their hearts out in the first one at the Camp Nou and just defend their butts off? Just do that. Maybe you try to agitate Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Gerard Martin, and Amar Casado because all of those guys they just need one yellow. That's all you need. You get somehow to get Lamine Yamal a yellow card at Camp Nou with mind games. You could at the Metropolitano, Simeone handling the crowd, handling the intensity. They did win. I do believe 5-1 early in the season. So, is there capabilities? Yes, there is. Longley, Griezmann, former Barca players. They're going to be, possibly wanting that revenge. Griezmann, especially leaving the club icon after so many years to come to Orlando. So maybe they play for him to give him that sweet little revenge in a sense against Barca, kick him out of the Champions League this way, especially after losing the La Liga matchup as well. So it should be fun. Yeah, I think both teams know each other, both managers know each other, both players know each other. So and they understand the severity of the situation. It should be fun. It should be, like a Barca Atletico match, a Real Madrid Barca, kind of like a Classico type of vibe, because these are the top two of the three teams in Spain. So there's going to be the animosity between them. The club histories are already there, and some that I just mentioned with Griezmann. Um, it happened before when Suarez left, went to Atletico, won him the league title. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, like the main thing for Atletico against Barca is they're not scared of Lamine. They're not scared of um, the squad. They respect them. They understand the difficulty of the task at hand. But they fight for their club and they will try to kind of prevail over that hurdle of Barcelona. So it should be a fun chess match between Hansi Flick and Cholo Simeone, between the players as well. Um, I think there's, like I mentioned, respect, but there's that competitive battle. I want to get over on these guys, Atletico players. If they get over with Barca, they are going to be talked about a little bit more as well. So, same thing, trying to keep Julian Alvarez. If you don't want him to go to Barca, what better way? He performs against Barca, does this. Maybe that kind of entices Barca to handicap themselves for their future, trying to get him in through the door after a Lewandowski exit. A lot of moving pieces there. But yeah, that's where we are between those two. I will take the team from the capital city. I will take Atletico. I think there can be something that Cholo Simeone has up his sleeve that he pulls out. And then maybe we face them again in the finals and we beat their one more time. But to get to that, we're gonna have to get to the semifinals. That is next round. This was for the quarterfinals. Thank you guys for being patient and sticking with another edition of Football Frenzy. This was the Champions League edition for the quarterfinals coming right up. I will be back, I promise, with some more basketball conversation. Like I mentioned, shout out to the Lady Bruins, first ever national title for them. I'm predicting UConn beating Michigan. We'll see what happens there. And yeah, we'll come back talk more about Chef Curry's return after last night. That's why we had to wrap some basketball as well. And yeah, we'll see what the West looks like, the East looks like, who the MVP might be. We barely have like 4 games left for this season, so it should be interesting to see how the 65 game threshold plays a factor in some of these guys from their All-Star, All NBA, and all the other accolades. And yeah, stay tuned for all that. Stay tuned for more content, or go back and watch anything and everything. Jump off, quick takes, football frenzy, or something else. Like I mentioned, let me know in the comment section below, and we will try to get into that. Yeah. Till next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week ahead. You already know what it is. It's your guy, and it's all love.